My dear peasants, is tracing cheating, and are you a lesser artist for doing it? This was a conversation that was taken from my live stream just a few short days ago. Fascinating conversation, really. And if you wish to listen to the whole thing to increase your brain mass, I put a link in the description below. I love you. So here's a controversial art topic. Yes, if you were given a commission to draw someone's dog, they sent you a photo and you trace the outline of the dog from the photo to begin your drawing. Is that cheating? If you were given a commission like the last one, they sent you a photo they wanted you to recreate, would you use some projector to outline it on the canvas? I wouldn't. But if it's the exact same size and you're having trouble with it, maybe, yeah, it's cheating. If you say that you drew it up like, whatever, yeah, it's cheating. But like, it's lying. I'll tell you why I don't do that is because I don't want to fall in the habit of doing that. Number two, it's good practice for me to get it done properly. Number three, I can do it because I do practice. There are people who Photoshop their work and who embellish it, and not their work, say a photograph, and they embellish it and put it on Instagram. Now, there are people, and Clara pointed one out, and this person was doing it, where they were saying that that was their work. That they did freehand, and it wasn't. They traced it, or they copied it, or they put it in Photoshop and altered it and put effects on it, and it was very obvious. I won't get into it how, but it was obvious. That's cheating. But if it's something where they're asking you to do something, hey, could you do this? I wouldn't do it. I don't like tracing stuff. That's me, but is it cheating? Yeah, if you're saying you're doing everything yourself or whatever without doing it, yeah, it is cheating. It depends on what you want to do. How's it lying? Well, if you say that you painted this and it was like freehand, but it wasn't, it was like you traced it, then it's lying. But if you say, yeah, what I did, I took it, copied it. If you're taking a painting of a dog, you could probably just trace it, transfer it over, just the big basic shapes, and then just do a painting of it. And that's not really cheating, I guess, if they give you a picture and they want that copied directly, and that's what you have to do. It's different work. Is it artistic? No. You're copying something for somebody. It's not cheating, though. I think there's integrity as an artist that you build up over time with doing projects and pushing yourself. And so I would do your best to draw it straight up. But if they ask, you tell them, this is what I did. You don't tell them otherwise. I have to say, what I think when people trace is they take any emotion and art out of art, any feeling out of it. For the 99% that happens. I do believe that creativity suffers from it, and I think forming the habit over a period of time of doing that and okaying it and rationalizing things out, I think that's very unhealthy as, in your journey as an artist. That's what I would say. It rules out any hard work, it rules out the challenge, it rules out any self-expression that you might put into the work, that you might stumble upon, that is imperative in your own growth. If your goal is to just reproduce something for a commission and you are pressed for time, I don't think that makes you less of an artist. But I kind of disagree with that point. If your goal is just to reproduce something, that's not artistic in itself. So whether it makes you less of an artist or not is irrelevant. It's not as artistic if you're just reproducing something. Becoming a better artist, you need to learn this type of stuff so it doesn't hinder your artistic ability. I think technique can hold you back to the point where you're not being artistic. You might be feeling like you're artistic, you might be feeling like you want to express something, but you're not doing it because you're held back by the technique. When we make those compromises in our work, we opt to trace because of whatever reason there is. And there's always going to be a reason, we can always find one. I think that lessens the art and lessens our artistic drive. And yes, it makes us less of an artist. That's what I believe. If you have two people who are doing this stuff, and one of them opts to trace more than the other person does, and they make those compromises, if they continue making those compromises down the road, if they're okay with doing that, their work is going to suffer for it less than the person who is doing the hard work. On average, that's the case. Now, individual work, sometimes, look, traced work oftentimes looks better at first than others, but we're talking about being artistic here, right? It's not a question of what looks better, it's you asked if it's cheating or not. You asked at first if it's cheating, number one. But now it's a question of which one's better. I'd have to see. Those are two separate questions. If you're going to trace something, it's going to be more proportional probably than the one that you didn't trace, right? But that's a separate issue. Which one's more artistic? Now, artistic, that means putting some thought or feeling into your work, or trying to convey something that's unique, that's creative, using a specific technique. Now, people who trace, if they're just trying to get the tracing done, oftentimes they forgo that creative style, that creative side of them. But the person who doesn't trace oftentimes might be held back by their own technique. It really depends. But the person who continues trying to work on that technique and gets the technique so it does not hinder their creativity is going to be able to push that piece forward as an art piece more than the person who just constantly traces. But the person who traces will get further quicker. But is it artistic? I don't think so, but that's my opinion. I'm not gonna work on that hand. It's 3:45, I need to get going. You know what, I'll work on that hand a little bit more and get those thoughts out since we're in the middle of this conversation. I'm not gonna work that much longer. I mentioned this in the video that I did. Art, being creative, but having the technique to convey that creativity. The technique is the language. This is a language. I am trying to learn the language so that I can create what I wanna create. Is this artistic right now? Not really. This is a study, but it's important to know how to do this so that when the time comes and I want to do something that is my own piece, that pushes a point across, that puts my heart into it, that does whatever, I'm able to do it. So in a sense, this right here is helping my creativity. This is helping my creativity because this is me practicing. Now, what if I was just to trace this? And that's what I did, and I made compromises left and right. You make the habit of compromising is going to come out in your work whenever things get hard. And I do believe that holds you back as an artist. And I've done stuff like that, and I know firsthand. I'm not pointing fingers here, except at myself. Why do you have to trace? Because you can't do it freehand? Because you don't have the technique? Because you haven't taken the time to learn the technique? It's lazy. Oh, it's a tool. There's a lot of tools out there. That doesn't make it legit. Tracing being cheating doesn't seem correct to me. There's value in not tracing, I agree. But someone who traces, I don't think makes them inferior. They're just using a tool. I think that's bullshit. The artist who knows how to draw, when they trace something, they'll be able to tell if the tracing's a little bit off. You know why? The eye is sharper than tracing. It is. The eye is sharper than measurement tools. The trained eye is. This is what I'm talking about. The person who's trained, who knows how to do this stuff, will push their work forward more than the person who can trace it. Why? Because the person who traces it, they can put the lines in the right place for the most part, but it'll always be a hair off and they won't be able to tell. But also they don't understand, for the most part, the untrained person won't understand quality of line. And that's a huge thing, the subtlety behind it. That's something to be learned. That's gonna hold their work back. People who opt to trace, it's not just about getting the shape right. There's line quality and there's expressiveness in line that can only be learned through study. Imagine you have a pianist who is very good at the piano, who plays the same piece, and then Mozart comes and plays the exact same piece. The first person is technically brilliant, but then Mozart comes and he plays it. He would have a touch that they don't have. That's to be practiced and to be learned and to be upheld. That's what I'm trying to get across. It's not just about copying and tracing and getting it looking good. That's not it. And I'm telling you, there's a different level between those two. The person who can be expressive and create that line quality in their work, they're gonna be able to push their art further. They're gonna be able to express things that this person can't even fathom. I really think that people who are okay with tracing, they're missing out on all this stuff. They do not understand drawing. They don't understand how far you can get with it, and they're missing out. That's what I believe. Calling someone non-artistic for tracing an outline to get them starting on a painting is damn pretentious sounding though. I don't care. It's stupid that they go through and freaking trace. Now, it's one thing, it's a different thing if they do a preliminary sketch, they do the sketch themselves and then put tracing paper over it and trace over it and then transfer it. That's a transfer. That's different because they did the work. They did the work. That's different. That's way different. All right, stop being stupid. I know it's hard, but you can do it. You've done it before. This line is off. It's fine to be a snob until it makes people feel unnecessarily bad. I actually think that it's good to make people feel bad at all times. To put yourself up here by standing on their faces, all right? That's what being a true artist, let's cut to the chase, means. I suppose that's the heart behind suck it. Suck it. Superior ultimate creators of knowledge and intellectual talent. Our Discord server. Making people feel bad. You are absolutely 100% accurate. Suck it is a way of living, and it's a state of mind and being, and we solidify that through our actions, namely stepping on faces. That's what we do in Suck It. Back to the hand. We're gonna squint ever so slightly. Nice and fluid, strokes. Just going down that way. This one's gonna be just a little bit higher. This isn't really working, is it? But I saw that from the get-go. Yes, I did. I am a genius. I know exactly what I'm doing as a painter, as an artist, that's not right. I wouldn't continue that even because the hint of it is enough for my brain to finish it. You mean kind of making it just kind of trail off? You want it to be kind of impressionistic? Well then, how about this? I'll trail those fingers off and kind of blend it in, even though this is darker here. Why don't I do this? Why don't I make all this dark? Here's a little artistic, we'll end it on this little artistic touch of genius. That's kind of cool. Look at that. Let's zoom in. And that's also what disappears when one is just mechanically tracing. Yeah, the choice to do that. There you go. That was an artistic move. We kind of morphed this drawing into what we were talking about and gave it beef. That bitch slaps tracers in the face, and then we brand them with Suck It. Suck It! Where the greatest artistic minds converge to form a single knit community of highly intelligent and inspirational humans, minus Queldar, and trust me when I tell you that you won't find any tracers there. Now I live stream every Tuesday and Thursday where I saturate your ass with a golden ooze of buttery goodness. Trust me when I tell you that those butt cheeks will never be the same after watching my stream. So until next time, I am the most Guidetti.